So good morning, and thank you very much for the opportunity. So we're presenting on the cost of inaction on social protection financing in Ghana, an analysis of the Ghana school feeding program. I must say that this is a part of a bigger work that we are finishing for UNICEF on the cost of inaction of social protection in Ghana. And so we decided to present this bit of it, which is specifically for Ghana school feeding. What we are doing is for the 5 flagship programs that Ghana runs in terms of the social protection in Ghana. So I have some of my students, others are collaborators. So the outline of my presentation is that. So it is a known fact that when it comes to social protection, and as we heard today, it works perfect for reducing poverty, human capital development, and then bringing about inclusive growth. But as we also know, the problem of the poor has been exacerbated by the COVID exposure. And in Ghana, it is estimated by one report that over 800,000 people were pushed into poverty. And then when it comes to social protection, as a government, we spend just 0.2% of GDP compared to the sub-Saharan Africa, which is 1.5%. If we add insurance, that is the pension, it comes up to 1.4, which is still below the African average. And so there is the need for us to think about that. And that's basically because when we don't do that, it's going to work against us in our fight towards SDG 1, 4, and 10. And as we have seen, maybe 1 will elude us, as the report that is to be released or has been released told us. So the school feeding program is one such example, and the pictures here shows what it is in the Ghanaian context. We have school children line up during break, lunchtime, and getting their meals. The program was launched in 2005, basically with the intent of improving enrollment, attendance, and nutrition. It also had the intent of supporting homegrown food production. One report states that its seeding investment yields about 3.3 Ghana cedis in return. And if all is well in terms of its efficiencies, then it's possibly going to yield about 9 Ghana cedis. Yet, as we have seen in various reports and in some communities we visited, the program only covers 21% of the extreme poor. That means that the already exacerbated learning outcomes and problems with education might not be achieved if we are using only the school feeding as a tool. So there is the need to work around it. So we situate our argument by saying that the nominal in terms of our budget is going up. It's even projected to decline. But in real terms, the budget's contribution is going down. And that is to say that if we stick with just the 0.2%, then its effect on achieving the set objectives would even be going to be worse. Given these, we are saying outcomes, existing programs have not really, that have looked at the school feeding has not really focused on, or has only focused on the enrollment issues, the nutrition, implementation, sustainability, with some RCTs being done from folks at ISA and others, telling us very nice results of the implications of the school feeding. However, little has been done by way of the cost of inaction, and that is where we want to we want to look at. In terms of the stagnation of the support and the underfunding that's going into it implementation, and hence the need for some robust results. We do this work using gamut simulation, two-stage least squares, and then some forecasting we think about in terms of what if investment are increased, what will be the likely effect. So these are the three main things. We provide situational analysis with some interviews from beneficiaries and stakeholders to look at the state of the school feeding program. And then the cost of inaction, we analyze that and look at the impact, looking at business as usual and the forecasting methods. If things stick with the way they are, in the next 2, 5, 7 years, what is it going to be like? So data mainly comes from the Ghana Socio-Economic Panel Survey. We use 2 rounds. We also rely on various information from other sources, and then some qualitative interviews were done. Here we concentrate on 6 head teachers for this particular session, 4 experts, 12 beneficiary parents, and then 6 non-beneficiary parents. So in line with the situational analysis, if you think about the origin and then the program focus and whether we are sticking with it, yes, evidence shows that the school feeding secretariat argues that yes, it's not just about feeding children alone, but the program is also meant to stimulate rural livelihoods and get children, especially girls, into school, and it's achieving that. In terms of coverage and scaling up, we started with just 10 schools, and now it's over 10,800 schools, basic schools. So more is being done. And then there's community participation. A little bit of community support comes in setting up if the community is to be chosen, they should show commitment and all that. In terms of the outcomes, yes, studies have shown that it has led to some improvement in literacy and concentrations in school and others. And some beneficiary parents allude to that their children learn better, are more focused, and stay in school. Financing, yes, a lot has been pumped into this program, with 1.4 billion Ghana cedis being spent as at 2024. When it comes to per child, up to 2018, we're spending a cedi on a child per meal. And now it is 2 cedis. As at 2025, it has just been increased. When it comes to the local multiplier, evidence shows that caterers are sourced locally, and that they also use local content in terms of sourcing for food. There are other operational bottlenecks and others. I think my time is almost up. Let me just jump to some of the key results. So the findings, in terms of the inaction or designed coverage and investment reduction, we are saying that it reduced the effectiveness of the program. And we looked at 2 things: delays in investment and no coverage. And we saw that if that is dealt with, up to 14.3% percentage point of absenteeism can be eliminated compared to those who do not benefit. When it comes to stagnations, for a long time it was just 1 cedi, and we know that given the high rate of inflation we're experiencing in the country, if we are spending a cedi or even 2 cedis on a child for that long time, real effect will reduce. And we saw that in periods where it stagnated, while the subsequent enrollment, people who were enrolled on the program saw benefit, there was quite a variation in the benefit they experienced. And so we should be thinking about adjusting inflation adjustment financing when we are dealing with projects like this. And then failure to scale up investment in the Ghana School Feeding Program limit its impact on reducing poverty and inequality. This comes from the government. And we saw that in all cases, the government saw that poverty is reduced, even though it is marginal. Its effect on poverty and inequality is important. And hence, if the target goes to those who really need it, the extreme poor, then we can reduce poverty. There should be increased investment in the Ghana School Feeding, or increased investment in Ghana School Feeding delivers significant greater educational outcome compared to the business as usual. And this is coming from the forecasting that we did. So when the project investment is increased by 25%, by 50%, by 70%, we tend to see greater benefit in terms of out-of-school children rate dropping, completion rate increasing, all that. And hence, if that comes along with investment, then keeping it as usual will not benefit. An effort to improve the system will definitely lead to greater results. So we conclude by saying that the Ghana School Feeding remains vital but underutilized educational and social protection tools can lead to the program not achieving its goals if we still keep with the stagnated funding and other problems that we have identified. I think my time is up. Let me just look at one of the policies that we prefer, and that is that we should adjust per child funding regularly to provide program quality. It's important that if we are to get the benefit, keeping it stagnated for a long period will not lead to any appreciable gains. Thank you very much.